I confess, I love the vintage feel, but you know, I want that feel, but I also want to be able to use it in lots of contemporary things. Okay, I want to have my cake and eat it too.
Well, you can with the Stolen Moments collection. It's got a vintage feel. You can use it in everyday situations, and it's got a lot in the collection to play with.
Sound interesting? Come play with us. Okay, here is Stolen Moments. And these are the papers, of course, because we always want to start with the papers.
Right.
What I love is that it uses 4 colors. So as we get in closer, you'll see that there is this lovely soft gold, there is the brown, there's cream, and then there is the teal green, sagey green, I guess. Okay.
The package that it comes with, you'll see, is we start with ideas. Because that's hot off the press, that's what you're going to get. There is going to be 12 double-sided papers, 2 of each design, and here's an idea on the front, a couple of ideas, and then you have even more ideas on the back, different ways to use these papers.
Right, and you're going to see the coordinating elements, but we're going to show those to you. And like Gail said, they're double-sided. Here is the centerpiece of the page, and what I love that our graphic designers do, yay, Kyla and Kristen, yeah, is that there's so much going on, and as we get in closer, you can see, okay, the postmark, which is really starting our vintage, but look at the swirls, look at the
large flourish. Yeah, there's text across here. There's a lot going on, like you said, but it's also muted and just sort of tone on tone, that it doesn't overpower what you want to do with it.
It doesn't at all. It just creates what it should do, is to create a framework for what you want to do with it. And I just love what our designers do.
And the other side of this nice focal is this color here.
Right.
Which is like it's a texture, but it's got kind of the colors.
Scuffing.
Yeah, scuffing.
But it's also got a pattern behind it. So it's more than just a brown sheet. And that's what the design team brings to it.
And it goes so well with, that's a nice stark fur matting that's absolutely perfect.
Then we've got dots, and we have a flourish in the soft gold again. And I'm going to hold this really so you can see it. It's a tone on tone, but it is just lovely and so useful. So that's on the back side of the dot.
We've been known to cut out those flourishes for embellishment. So.
Don't you love them? Yeah. Okay, here's the teal, and on the back side are the flourishes in the browns and the teal.
That one. That's just a gorgeous look.
And here's a tile with a background of, and this is another one that's got lots of texture, but it doesn't overwhelm the paper. So just so pretty.
Right.
Then we have a herringbone, and this herringbone, has a little lacy edge. So that's nice.
That's what's neat about these papers. There's a couple of them that have a little extra border work on them.
Very useful. And on the back side is this tone on tone going with the soft golds again. And the last is a brown tone on tone stripe with this on the back side. It's the kind of smaller motifs, but it has this lovely edge.
With just a little bit of swirl right up at the top. I mean, if you look kind of closely right up at that corner, it's like a little sunburst right there.
Oh, I see that. Yes.
Yeah, you can hardly see it, but it's useful.
Now let me bring the ribbons in, and there are 12 ribbons, and again, they are, of course, going to match everything. So it does have the teal, has some green, brown dots, both in the sheer and in the printed, as well as some stitched ribbon. Of course, we've got the crepe. Of course, we have grosgrain. 12 different ribbons in 36 inches of each.
We also have Stolen Moments die cuts. So you're going to get 2 sheets, get the same images on 2 sheets. Right. So 64 die cuts altogether. And these are real easy to simply pop out. And you can do anything you want with those. You can ink the edges. You can journal on them.
You can computer journal on them. Stamp.
There's lots of fun images like these vintage-looking clocks and little hands pointing this way and that. I love the camera here and some houses.
Pay attention to the houses. You're going to see a really neat technique that Gail did with them later.
And I love this part too, moments. And each one of these is an individual little die cut, so you can use that in some fun ways.
And what we
Arrows.
like too is that because there's 2 sheets, you get 2 moments. So you get
Right.
2 of everything. So really nice to see.
Okay.
Now the last coordinating element is the Stolen Moments foil paper tole. So this is going to have it pretty. And they're all die cut. They're all designed to layer. Should you want to do that, you certainly can use them individually. There's, no problem.
Absolutely. It's all there for you to be able to see just the way it is, but then you can start stacking them and just create a more layered effect.
And this is one where we've got a little label that says Stolen Moments, but you can also stamp on it. You can also computer journal. You can handwrite, whatever you like.
When you're stamping on these, it's a good idea to use Stays On.
Stays On or the new Surface.
Or Surfaces,
right,
too,
both
yeah.
of those. Okay, let's get into some scrapbook pages.
Yes.
And by the way, we are making a concerted effort to do more scrapbook pages. I hope you noticed last week. You're going to see more of that.
Well, people like them a lot.
Right. So now this is just beautiful. Just beautiful. Susan did this with the Stolen Moments. And one thing that she did is she used the square doily, this paper doily, and turned it on point and let part of it go off the edge.
Off the edge.
Yeah.
And she didn't do anything else to it, but just put it on there, trim the edge. And that's just a beautiful background for this large photo. It's a beautiful photo. The corners that you're seeing are the die cuts.
Right.
So
a little jewel dazzle on there. And I think this is using the copper. So these are the new jewel dazzles in the copper platinum.
Those are fun. All of those colors are a lot of fun to play with. And then there are some right on the edges here of the label, which was computer journaled on. And some of the grosgrain ribbon, which is looped right under the edge there.
Now, I love this collage that she has created. So we'll back up just a tiny bit. Okay, stop, John. So she's got the ribbon going across, so that's the bottom part. But then she's just layered them, as you can see. So the clock underneath, this was one piece with the clock on top.
And here's a typical Susanism. The little clocks are not sitting straight. They're both of them off at an angle. She'll do that frequently, and it's surprising how different that makes something look when you do that.
So not just rigidly straight, going at a point. I love using the swirls, just like she's used it here, as something that makes an image larger and takes more space.
And it's coming out from underneath this label, but going on top of this little tag here. This is another die cut that's foam taped on top of that tag.
On top of another of the die cut tags. So we've got the arrow looking toward the photo. One other thing, as we back up a little bit, notice that the women are looking at us, but they're looking kind of into the page. The arrow and all of this is directing us this way. So everything is telling us to go right here.
Right. That's right. Everything directs your eye towards that photo. And part of the artwork right here is left exposed, so that's just part of the focal of the page.
And as we get in closer to it, you can see more of those copper jewel dazzles are
used at unique little points, just a little bit.
Just a little bit of glitz. Now the companion page is quite different. So let's bring them in together just so you can see. And this is using that last page we showed you, which just has the border.
Right.
And this is on the soft, has a soft yellow background. Much simpler, does not have quite the ornateness as the left-hand page. But let's go in. And you can see, because you get 2 of all the die cuts, here's another one.
Another label that she's journaled on this one.
Right. And when these 2 pages are side by side, notice that those 2 circular die cuts are at opposite sides, one at the top, one at the bottom.
So that creates a balance.
It does.
In your scrapbooking. Also, the die cuts are inked. The edges are inked, so that makes it stand out, because if she hadn't done that, the color of it might have got lost a little bit on that
because they're both
paper.
pretty pale.
Right.
Now here's a different use of that swirl, just kind of combining the 2. Notice how they're at an angle.
Yeah, it almost looks like a little stand holding up
It does,
the photo.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Very cute. And I think this is just a nice technique. We've seen this, in fact, I think we did it last week, where just taking a ribbon, tying a knot, in this case, a very loose knot, because it stays nice and big. cutting the ends in a V, so it makes it easy.
Very simple. Here we have a little pocket created with the papers, and then one of the little die cuts is got a, oh, so you can't see the center. I'm going to pull the die cut in so you can see it. So that die cut looks like this. The centers pop out on either side of that like a button.
So you can make a ribbon slide just by just flipping that ribbon through there. So very nice. Now let's look at the page that is on the back cover of the header in the package, and what a beauty. What a beauty this is. Now, you did this, right?
I did. The photos help a lot. That's a very cute little girl. But the die cuts I use just in a real collage effect.
Right.
And I actually use the die cuts as templates to cut out more circles from the paper.
Oh.
And then mat them so I could get a little sort of a shadow effect on some of the die cuts.
I like the squares behind each of the letters in moments. You know, this almost looks like a reel of film.
Film, I hadn't thought about that. I definitely thought about the phrase says, moments in time, and I definitely thought about tying that together with this ribbon that goes in and out of the die cuts and underneath the two clocks, which are separated.
Very nice. So the in time is what you computer journal.
That I computer journaled,
Right.
cut out separately and inked the edges, and it fits right in.
Okay, and you've got, again, the same thing where you cut this circle also out of the paper and
Right,
inked it.
use it as a template.
Clever.
You can do that with all of the die cuts.
Clever, clever. Now, okay, this border is brilliant. Okay, better bring in the die cut so we can see those houses.
In the die cuts, you have two houses, this one and this one.
Yes.
So I popped them both out, and I took them one at a time and placed it on the brown striped paper. One at a time, I placed one on, traced it, and then I took the other one, set it next to it, traced it, and I just did that back and forth, and then I was able to cut out a skyline.
That is so fun and so effective. And because you have that, now as you pop them out, you can take the image, but if you don't throw this away, you've got the evacuated area.
So there it is. So there is an area that you can use to trace over and over.
So don't throw it away.
Yeah.
And then fun to foam tape this house on top, and then you just tuck that one inside.
Right.
So very neat. Now this is, and somewhere in my pile over here, I have the key. This is from Maya Road. We've used this before, but it's really become a favorite. It is metal, but they're reasonably lightweight. They're not terribly heavy, but they're a substantial size.
Right, and they, I actually just zotted that on, and it stays on just fine. I didn't have to tie it on or anything like that.
Now you're using some of these postcards. These are international postcards.
So you can use this side, like you'll see in a minute on another page, but the opposite side if you need a blank. And so I used that and cut out a tag shape from it for that and journaled across the top.
And then I also like how you used that that paper with the border to use it as borders on your pages.
It's nice when you're doing matting to not always have the same size all the way around. I went a little further on this end, and then I was able to put that border strip there.
Now the companion page will back up
over here.
Oh, really? Did I blow that?
No, that's all right though. It seems right to start with that one, even though they go this way.
Okay. So it is, again, simpler, but you can see that our cityscape just travels across both pages. And here you've used the full postcard.
Right. So here's the postcard. It's been journaled on. And then the double-sided paper down here is journaled on, and then I folded the corners over so that you can see the back of that a little bit.
Little distressing. Now, I love what you've done with the photos, so we're going to back up just a little bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 photos.
This is a fun way to fit a lot of photos in. And if you can, get them kind of small, you can fit a lot of them in. And I chose to do a little bit different treatment on all of them. Some of them I inked the photo actually with, you have to use StazOn if you're going to ink the photo, and then matted. Some of them I put a ribbon treatment across the top with just a little knot there, but you can see the photo inking there a little better, like here. And just in different ways. This one is foam tape. Most of them are just glued on.
So this has become this is your focal because it's so large.
Right.
But then you've circled them, this one, with the smaller ones. Now these look to be all the same size. Now that's another
Right.
way of unifying them.
All the same size.
Against this. So.
And this is it's telling a story. The story is, you know your home when, your house becomes a home. You have children and they make it that way.
Great. Now here is a card using one of the die cuts and computer journaling, but how simple this is
Right.
and how beautiful.
That's just one die cut. So
Right.
that's just popped out. You put a little strip of paper back here and divide some papers. You ink the edges, pop on a ribbon.
And you're done. The inside, again, just two little die cuts. And this is fun, this little ribbon treatment underneath that, just trimmed in a V. Now we have an album. This is a 6x6 Sarah Surface album, meaning that it comes blank, but wow.
Wow, look at that. Susan started off by inking it with Stays-On Brown, and you can use a cosmetic sponge, or you can do it directly from the ink pad as well.
Okay. And then, so we'll back up just a second just to see this paper, and it is the tone on, well, not the tone on tone, but the flourish, the brown and the teal. And then that edge has been cut.
That edge has been, the border was cut out of the paper and set on there. And then you have the corner die cuts placed on here. Also, we have the brown thin line dazzles going all the way around the edge.
That's why I have those over here.
That's why they're there.
Here they are, brown thin line. And it
Right.
just gives a little edge, obviously, but it also is a reflective. So you can see there's a bit of shine, not a whole lot, but just
Adds
a
a
bit.
little bit. When you've got jewel dazzles to add a little bit more shine too.
Now, this is another of the tags that's been cut down.
Cut down from that postcard because it's got
Right.
that little grommet up here at the top. And Susan sprayed it with 2 different colors of glimmer mist, and you can look on the gallery to see which colors she used.
Right, and did, so out of the moments, took the N and decided to use that for Nelson.
Isn't that great? So she journaled just Elson and put the N in front of it. That worked out nice.
And again, like you said before, her technique of offsetting those clocks
Right,
and how well.
even the key, I would have tended to put that key on there straight, but
I think I would have too.
offsets it a little.
Beautiful.
Beautiful look.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay.
I love these ribbons, the double edged with the dotted.
It works nicely, doesn't it? Now, these are some ideas, just extra ideas. So here's the postcard, and it has been with the chalks or with the ink pads, one or the other, I can't remember. This is another of the die cuts, and the photograph going with a torn mat. Very simply done, but what a nice place to journal.
Oh, yeah.
Very clever.
Right on the lines. That's a really nice way to do that.
And this one I love.
You really have to get close to see it.
Yeah, we're going to have to get in. This is craft paper, but Susan has used the encrusted jewels to get this heavy enamel, embossing powder, right?
Enamel, but it just looks like gold leaf,
It's just
doesn't it?
amazing.
I mean, it
Yeah.
really, that's what I would have thought it was.
So, and Susan is a lover of tiny things. So to take the tag and layer the papers, and then as I wiggle this, I'm hoping you can see that the encrusted jewels are down here, the edge of that paper.
Even up at the top around the little hole.
Wow. And along the edge, just beautiful, beautiful. Now, we have not gotten into our foil paper tole, so let's start this. And this card is using not only the foil paper tole, but another doily. So this is just the little 4-inch round cut in half.
Cut in half and placed on each end of this teal texture paper, then matted on that flourish. And you can see here the brown thin line dazzles as well. I think it's brown.
Right, it is.
And then we have little black jewel dazzles.
Right, and they look
Or brown.
like... No, they're black.
They're black.
No, they're brown. Wait,
They are
I
brown,
lied.
yeah.
So these are the brown ones. They have a silver edge, so that's what
I don't
works.
know if you can see this teeny tiny little die cut and it says hi on it.
And that's the die cut. So, and then on the inside there is that other die cut that was on the front of the other card. Now, look at this. That could certainly be a card front.
Sure.
So just like you saw.
Just several strips of paper. You ink the edges because that fits with that vintage theme really well.
And easy to do. So that's one of the foil paper tole. Now here is the typewriter done in a vertical format and done in a horizontal format. And that's nice to see.
Sure, it is. And what I love about this die cut is that here's that banner going underneath
paper tole, not
paper tole. Paper tole. Here's the banner coming out from underneath the typewriter, which gives you an automatic template for making more banners.
Oh, excellent. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Very good. And of course, the happy leads you to happy birthday, but it could be happy anniversary, happy new year, happy Father's Day. It's just a kind of a universal.
Add a few dazzles, very simple.
You're good to go. On the inside, just doing a little bit of computer journaling on some of the paper, getting a vertical as well as a horizontal image. And on that one,
on this one, we have these gold lacy border dazzles.
Yes,
gold
there
border
are.
Dazzles. And so that's just used on the bottom here and on the top of that one piece of paper.
They're the border dazzles in
Lacy,
gold.
not lacy, just gold. Yeah. And on the inside, there's another banner that you can
Striking.
use as a template. Celebrate.
And the last, because there are 3 images on the foil paper tole, here's the last one. Now this is the one where I said it had a little label that said Stolen Moments, but you can do this. You can put dazzles on it, you can journal on it, you can stamp, whatever you like. But isn't this just lovely?
And the design toolkit, one of the design toolkits is used right here to cut the edge away.
Aren't those pretty colors? And on the inside, there's the other of the foil paper tole, so you can use them individually or together.
Here up in the corner. You're the best.
I see. That must be the petite dazzles.
That must be. Or tiny words and phrases.
Or tiny words. You're right. Tiny words and phrases. Okay.
And these aren't lacy. I keep calling them that, so don't look for that. They're just gold border dazzles.
Border dazzles, right. So can you see why we love Stolen Moments? You get the vintage look, but you can use it for contemporary photos or projects, and you're good to go.
Have fun.